and Director Chopra, thank you for being here today. It's clear your command of the Constitution and of the laws, and your command of that which is most important, which is the consumer. And after years of Republican sabotage, I want to commend you on your work to bring the CFPB back on the side of consumers. I also want to acknowledge your efforts to prevent unlawful medical debt collection and reporting. One of the issues that I'm leading on here is that of COVID long haulers. And given the millions of people living with long COVID, we certainly should not be placing any additional stressors or anxieties on patients and families. I was also really pleased to see the Bureau take action to investigate overdraft and other junk fees. As myself and others have consistently advocated, these fees reflect an abusive and predatory practice that punishes people simply for being poor. 7 major banks made over $1.2 billion in overdraft and non-sufficient fund penalties last year, including those that have a history of consumer abuse. As numerous studies have repeatedly shown, these fees disproportionately prey again on our poorest consumers. Director Chopra, in order to build on the Bureau's work thus far, what further steps is the Bureau considering to provide overdue relief to the millions of consumers facing financial hardship due to these junk fees?
Well, there's no question. You raised medical debt, you raised fees, you raised other issues. Well, one, we are taking a hard look about whether it is appropriate for, especially privacy reasons as well, that medical debt information should be included on credit reports. There's significant information to suggest that it does not really help with accuracy on credit determinations. We also want to make sure that there is a competitive market when it comes to all sorts of, not just deposit accounts, not just credit cards, but all financial products. And people should be paying for services rendered and that they want, and also be able to compete upfront on what those costs are. So ultimately, we think this is a benefit to all financial institutions and to all consumers to have more competition and more accuracy in credit reports.
Thank you. And I think the banks have certainly proven that they can't be expected to voluntarily reform themselves. And so legislative intervention really is sorely needed. Another area of concern that we've seen emerging is the rise of buy now, pay later. I know Representative Axney raised it earlier regarding the predatory practices of many of our for-profit colleges and universities. But we've seen this when it comes to payment credit plans. The number of consumers who have been using a buy now, pay later product, especially through e-commerce, has really grown. In fact, by 300% since 2018. Recent reports show a significant risk to consumers who may not know how this can potentially hurt their credit score or lead to hidden fees and exorbitant interest payments. Director Chopra, what steps is the Bureau taking to ensure that these companies are operating with transparency and accurately disclosing fees and charges to consumers of these products?
Yeah, there are certain types of products that have not been subject to the normal disclosures that other financial products are. So we have actually issued a set of orders to the buy now, pay later companies, the larger ones. I would characterize it, we're in question mode. I think that buy now, pay later has provided actually a great service for many people, but there are also some pitfalls. How is credit reporting going to work? How is the handling of data going to work? There's a number of questions that we need to make sure that we understand so that we can, make sure that the market is working fairly and transparently.
Absolutely. And just given the evolving nature of this space and potential risk to consumers, it really does require the Bureau's ongoing and diligent work. So I thank you for your attention in that regard.
Thank you so much.
And I yield.